What is going on, everybody? It's the France, and we're here for Unscripted, episode number 87 for your September 22nd, 2019. We are a little over a week away before AEW on TNT clashes with NXT on the USA Network. NXT, of course, had its first live show this week with an impressive rating coming out of it. A fire and what felt like a great... the first hour, the one that showed up on the USA Network, minus the commercials, which we as NXT fans have to get used to. It felt like NXT that we have seen for the last 5 years on the WWE Network. With two great matches, the only two matches you really need, Cameron Grimes versus Sean Maluta, did not need to happen, but the other two matches brought it for USA. The second hour on the WWE Network was kind of a mixed bag, with an excellent Oney Lorcan and Leo Rush match, and Pete Dunne and Ruiz in a pretty good competitive match, but nothing else really on that main card, which we'll talk about here in a second, was anything to go wow about. And that ending that felt like a Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live pre-Royal Rumble ending. Just it irked me a little bit, and what they did right after the show, kind of like that should have been on the WWE Network to hype you up for next week. Now, as we do every week, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Starting off with Monday Night Raw, as we come out of Clash of Champions this week, one of the biggest questions that really was asked is, what the hell is going on with Cedric Alexander? Cedric Alexander, up until this past Sunday, looked like he was on the rise. He pinned AJ Styles in a meaningless 10-man tag match, but gave him a lumbar check and took him out, getting him a match at Clash of Champions. And unfortunately, that match ended up on the pre-show and didn't even last 5 minutes, as after a flurry of offense at the beginning of the match, which was like the first minute and a half, AJ emphatically destroyed Cedric Alexander. Vince wanted him buried. We'll talk about that more in a second. And if you didn't believe that Cedric wasn't buried coming out of Clash of Champions, what they did on Monday just told you that Cedric is absolutely buried. So Cedric is just one of those guys who had his mini push, and it's over. Also coming out of Monday Night Raw, we had the King of the Ring finals, Baron Corbin versus Chad Gable, and I told everybody from the beginning, I told you for weeks that the King of the Ring finals was going to be, and the winner was going to be, all hail King Corbin. I knew it was going to happen the minute you had the match between Cedric Alexander, it was Ricochet and, no, it was Cedric Alexander and Drew McIntyre, which was an excellent match the week before. And you have Michael Cole just blurting out every single name, from Kevin Owens to Elias to Ali to Buddy Murphy, Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, Miz, Baron Corbin, Andrade. Of course, the last name he said, and Baron Corbin. I knew immediately who was winning King of the Ring. I'm fine with the way the tournament went. Corbin looked fantastic in this tournament. This tournament just made him look great. Here's the thing: the King of the Ring is to help build a new star. To, if it's a heel, get that heat on a person to make a big heel. For a babyface, it's to help get that babyface over. Baron Corbin is as hated as he is going to get. Baron Corbin did not need the King of the Ring. They had a chance, maybe for a week, to make Chad Gable one of the biggest babyfaces on this roster, and they didn't go with it. Why didn't they go with it? Only Vince McMahon can tell you that. But Baron Corbin, of course, didn't need it. I was hoping it would have been Drew McIntyre, for the simple fact that if you would have had Drew McIntyre, even though I know he was sick going into that match against Ricochet, and the fact that he gave us the match that he did against Ricochet just shows you that this guy should be pushed to the top. However, knowing the fact that he was take the sickness out of it. If Drew McIntyre would have been healthy enough to go through the entire King of the Ring, giving him King of the Ring would have put this guy a little bit higher up and been like, this guy, there's his launching pad, there you go, let's get him a singles run and get him to the Universal Championship. But Baron Corbin, he is your King of the Ring 2019. Will we have a 2020 King of the Ring, or is this just a gimmick tournament they're going to throw away for another 5 to 10 years? And of course, the biggest thing coming out of Monday Night Raw was The Fiend, who was all over Monday Night Raw. We started the show with Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt in the Firefly Funhouse, interrupted, and then we had just like 2 more segments. Kane, of course, was there to be, because they were in Knoxville. He's the mayor of Knoxville. He went by his actual name, Glenn Jacobs. So, and it was technically a match. He actually, here's a bonus stat. Kane has had a match, or some kind of match, on WWE television since 1995, I believe what it was. Yeah, 1995, when he was Isaac Yankem, DDS. That is a hell of a stat for Glenn Jacobs, a guy who, when he entered WWE, just was getting this terrible gimmick of Isaac Yankem and then going to fake Diesel. And his career pretty much looking like it was going to not go anywhere but jobber to this just iconic character, the half-brother of The Undertaker, Kane. And to have a match every single year, at least one match a year, is just a testament to this guy. So Kane, he was there, he won the 24/7 championship as Glenn Jacobs. Then at the end of the night, the OC helped Rude and Gable beat, not Rude and Gable, I keep messing that up. Rudolph, Dolph Ziggler, and Bobby Roode attack Seth Rollins. No Viking Raiders, no Cedric Alexander, even though the team of the Viking Raiders is feuding with the OCs somewhat. And Cedric, that just shows that Cedric is absolutely done as anything in WWE. He'll be back to chasing the 24/7 championship this coming Monday. So, Kane comes out, takes out the OCs and the tag team champions, which, sure, let's just bury those guys as well, because the tag team champions got buried earlier in the show by Braun Strowman, only for The Fiend to attack. The Fiend takes out Kane, and then, of course, Seth Rollins, who got beat down by these 5 guys a little bit, like a couple minutes ago, The Fiend just crawls over to Seth Rollins, and just that visual of Seth Rollins laying in the corner, eyes shut, hoping that this evil Fiend would just go away, and the Fiend just standing over him or laying over him, just was creepy. And then as they cut to the Firefly Funhouse theme song playing, but it's not the normal one. It's like a demonic, like distorted one that just runs for about a minute into a minute and a half. And you're just sitting there, just disturbed, because all you're hearing is this, and it's like, you want to change the channel, but you don't want to change the channel because it's just like, holy shit, what the hell? And Monday Night Raw, that was the 3 biggest things coming out of Monday Night Raw. We move over to SmackDown Live, which, okay, but before we go to SmackDown, the Fiend gimmick is fucking fantastic. One of the best things coming out of WWE's, coming on to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live or any type of WWE product in the last 10 years. I'd even say the last 20 years, probably. I would say the Fiend, the Fiend and its character is like one of the best things they've had debut in that type of genre since Kane made his debut. That is saying something. Vince McMahon is going to screw it up, because I guarantee you we're going to get to Hell in a Cell. They don't want to beat Seth Rollins, so the Fiend is going to take that L inside Hell in a Cell. And then the Fiend just goes back to being Bray Wyatt of old, who talks a big game. The Fiend goes out there, and then the Fiend gets beat. I can see it happening. It would not put it past WWE to pull this shit. But the Fiend right now is great, and I'm worried that WWE, when we get to Hell in a Cell, I feel like they're going to pull a Ryback on the Fiend. If you don't know what a Ryback is, well, and Ryback in, I believe it was 2000 and 2014, no, 2000, no, 2012, 2013. One of those, 2012, yeah, because the Shield just made their debut a month later. Was on a winning streak. The guy was undefeated. He was munching people up. He was beating people down. So, John Cena, supposedly injured, he was supposed to have a match with CM Punk inside Hell in a Cell, where they had Brad Maddox as a referee in the Hell in a Cell. They didn't want to beat CM Punk, so they decided instead of having CM Punk lose to this guy and lose the WWE Championship to Ryback, which fans would have popped big for, he has him up for his finisher. I don't even remember what it is because he hasn't wrestled in forever. Brad Maddox stops him, hits a low blow, 1, 2, 3, and that was the end of Ryback. Ryback went fully down the card after that. I feel that is what we're going to get when it comes to Fiend if the Fiend does not win coming out of Hell in a Cell. Fiend has to win at Hell in a Cell, keep the championship going into WrestleMania. Finn Balor must win the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber that decides the Universal Champion. If you're going to have Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble to take us to WrestleMania to face Brock Lesnar, again, Balor has to win the Elimination Chamber that decides who's going to go to WrestleMania for the Universal Championship. I would rather have Roman win the Elimination Chamber and Balor win the Rumble, but semantics. And then you have The Fiend versus The Demon. It's not that hard, people. The Fiend versus The Demon. Of course, yes, we do have 2 Hell in a Cells coming out of Monday Night Raw with Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks going inside the cell. And, of course, Seth Rollins and The Fiend. For some reason, coming out of Clash of Champions, there were people online talking about maybe both women's championship matches will be inside Hell in a Cell. Are you fucking retarded? Seriously. Anybody who even had a thought that Bayley and Charlotte Flair, because Bayley won by hook or by crook at Clash of Champions, is going to lead to a Hell in a Cell match between those two? No. That feud doesn't warrant Hell in a Cell. Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch warrant Hell in a Cell. I wish they would have had another month to build up to that, but hey, we're going to take it as it is. Charlotte versus Bayley, I would even be surprised if they even have a match against each other. From what I'm understanding, it might be Carmella getting the next shot. Maybe we're going to have a triple threat with Carmella, Charlotte Flair, and Bayley. By the way, I just read this before I got on here. Carmella was asked by somebody on Twitter about going back to her brown hair. She responded with, she's not allowed, unfortunately, so blonde Mella is to stay. That I'm not surprised with because WWE likes their blondes. Carmella, of course, last year during the Mixed Match Challenge, dyed her hair from brunette, from blonde to brunette, or brown or whatever. And if you watch the Table for Three with Mandy Rose, Tori Wilson, and Carmella is still having her dark hair, which I honestly think she looked way better in the dark hair than the blonde, but that's my own opinion. Okay, moving over to SmackDown Live. We had a 6-man tag match between FTRKO and the New Day, with the New Day picking up the win, and right after that match, nothing special happened in it. But that match led us to Brock Lesnar's music hitting. Brock Lesnar challenging Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship on October 4th. Kofi Kingston's WWE Championship reign has just a week and a week and a half left on it. Brock Lesnar is not coming on to October 4th. The first time he will wrestle on WWE television outside of a pay-per-view or a special event in 15 years. The first time he'll wrestle on SmackDown since March of 2004. I think he took on Bob Hardy, Hardcore Hardy. But it's a big deal. Now, of course, they've teased him wrestling a couple times here and there since he's been back, but no, this will be the first official time, and it makes sense. It's the premiere of SmackDown on Fox. You're going to want to have a big match. It's a big deal. It's the 20th anniversary of SmackDown. Brock Lesnar was a SmackDown staple from 2002 to 2004 after winning the WWE Championship in 2002. So him challenging Kofi makes a lot of sense. Brock Lesnar is going to be that guy who. Here's the thing. Yes, I'm not keen on having Brock Lesnar win the WWE Championship. Of course, he's going to be facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 36 again. God, WWE, good luck on keeping Roman Reigns from being booed this time. But it's just one of those things that it's like they have the studio show coming to FS1. Brock Lesnar could be shown on there. He could be interviewed on there every once in a while when he's getting ready for a big match. He doesn't have to show up on SmackDown every single week. He will be on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw the Monday before we go to Fox. So not this coming Monday, but the Monday after. He will be on there for the season premiere, and then of course be on SmackDown winning the WWE Championship. Should it be a fantastic match? Absolutely. Look at, like I said before in another show, another video or audio spot. Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk. Fantastic match. Match of the year when it happened in 2013. Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles. 2017. Match of the year. Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan. Fantastic match. I'd still probably say that, and that wasn't match of the year, but it was second because Becky Lynch, Asuka, and Charlotte Flair had a fantastic TLC match at TLC that I cannot give that match with Brock Lesnar and Daniel Bryan over it. Brock Lesnar versus Finn Balor. It was a good match. I think it could have went a little bit better, but it was still a good match. Brock Lesnar's track records. Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. Both just, the crowd was into him, the crowd was invested, the crowd wasn't just like, oh, it's the same old Brock Lesnar shit. Yes, the last time these two faced off with each other, it was at Beast in the East. And so when Finn Balor won the NXT Championship from Kevin Owens. So, of course, Kofi Kingston back then got destroyed. Then the New Day came out. The rest of the New Day came out, and they got destroyed as well. I think it's going to be a lot different this time. That time was just to get Brock Lesnar on that card and just give Brock Lesnar an easy win. I think this one's going to be a hell of a lot better. Kofi has evolved to a better wrestler since that time. I think they should give you one hell of a match. We get the why Rowan decided to attack Roman Reigns, and honestly, I think it was underwhelming and weak. He wanted to scare Roman Reigns. He wanted to take this feeling of dominance and let Roman Reigns know that it's all a facade. When was the last time Roman Reigns felt like he was actually dominating anything? Roman Reigns has been, since he has been back from injury, WWE seemed to know how to book Roman a little bit better. Even though we know he's going to win, he's not anywhere near the WWE Championship picture, and hasn't been. He wasn't even in the Universal title picture before he came to SmackDown Live. So, yeah, Roman's like the whole. If this would have been last year, hell, if this would have been last year, or the year before that, or the year before that, or the year before that, Rowan would have been looked as a fucking hero by the fans. The fans would have cheered him and would have agreed with him because WWE was booking Roman Reigns completely wrong. Not anymore. But it was just a weak reason why. I still don't buy it. I still don't buy the whole Rowan and Harper did it on their own. They got to be working for somebody. Will it be Daniel Bryan in the end? I don't think so. But it just feels like it just feels like there's something missing that's not there. A legit reason why, or just a mastermind surprise. It's like, it was me, Roman, I sent these two on you, or something. I just don't know what it is. Doesn't help that this feud has been booked on a week-by-week basis instead of, having somebody or a group like 2 or 3 people sit down with Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Eric Rowan, Luke Harper, or whoever they want to have in the storyline, and just map this out as it goes. No, they decided to just go with it as they will. We're going to wing it and see what the hell happens. And that's exactly what they've done. And of course, at the end of the night, also something about SmackDown this week is that it just eased by. Daniel Bryan came out. I didn't even think about it. I'm watching the show. And then the beatdown starts happening, and I'm like, looking down, I'm like, oh shit, this show's almost over. That's what's great about that. That is what's great about that is this week is that it just went by so quick. The Bludgeon Brothers looked strong this week by beating down both Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. It has not been made official for Hell in a Cell, but I fully expect it to this coming week. That it will be the Bludgeon Brothers versus Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. The Eco Dogs. I don't know. And of course we had NXT. This was of course the first live show on the WWE Network / USA Network, as NXT just gave you fire. That first hour was fantastic. A fatal four-way with Candice LeRae beating Io Shirai, Mia Yim, and Bianca Belair to get to the October 2nd edition of this show. If you look at this, what's going on with NXT and AEW? NXT is going to give you Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler. I'm telling you right now, Shayna's not losing that title on October 2nd. If Shayna loses that title on October 2nd, I think that is a slap in the face of how good her title reign has been. Candice LeRae, it's just, she's not there yet. You have done nothing with Candice LeRae until Io Shirai decided to turn heel, or a little bit before that. From January of this year until about a month or so before Io Shirai turned heel, you did nothing with Candice LeRae. She got beat by Io Shirai at TakeOver Toronto. She just waltzes into William Regal's office, bitches the fact that Io Shirai is getting opportunities, and she is put into this title match, this match. She's not winning for the simple fact is Io Shirai is not going to let that happen. I fully expect Io Shirai to screw Candice LeRae out of the championship coming out. But then, like, on the other side of the fence, on that same night, you'll have Riho versus Nyla Rose. Winding this back all the way to All Out. When they made the match of with Rio and God, I can't remember her name, her opponent at All Out to decide who will face the winner of the Battle Royal, I was highly disappointed. Britt Baker and Bea Priestley gave you fucking gold. Gave you gold on how to get yourself that, like, just to give you a heated rivalry match. A match that should have been in that spawn. Riho and her opponent should have been in the Battle Royal, and you have Bea Priestley versus Britt Baker in that one-on-one match, and the winner goes on to face Nyla Rose, and that would be a much better match. The biggest problem with this women's match is the fact that I don't buy Rio as the person who is going to beat Nyla Rose. I would take Britt Baker, who would obviously win because it would be Nyla Rose a heel versus Britt Baker a babyface. But I would take Britt Baker or Bea Priestley over Riho for a number one contenders match against Nyla Rose to see who's going to be the first women's champion. That made absolutely no sense, the fact that they decided two Joshis, one who's not even 100 pounds, she's like Nyla Rose in that match should just go over and squash her in the middle of the squash her. It should be a squash match with Nyla Rose winning easily. You don't need to tell me Nyla Rose is going to have to sell for this 97-pound woman who nobody in the sun is going to believe is going to even stand a chance against Nyla Rose. When it comes down to it, and you see Nyla Rose versus this small, like, child, like the small, this versus the small childish, like, child-looking girl, Riho, or you have Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler. What match do you think people are going to see and be more believable in a competitive match? Riho versus Nyla Rose or Shayna Baszler versus Candice LeRae? Now, with WWE having no choice but to put NXT on the network the next day for international markets, it's going to make deciding what show you're going to want to watch a hell of a lot easier, because you watch NXT on Thursdays, you watch AEW on Wednesdays, and there you go. So that leaves you Tuesday. That leaves you just Tuesday open, which kind of sucks for a lot of us, but that's Tuesday is going to be open for all of us. You have Raw on Monday, and AEW on Wednesdays, NXT on Thursdays and SmackDown on Friday. And with Impact going to Access, if they pick Tuesday as their day, that'll give you, if you wanted to, and if you have access to Access, play on words, you have Raw on Monday, Impact on Tuesday, AEW on Wednesday, NXT on Thursday, and SmackDown on Friday. That'll be the first time that you would ever actually have, if you want to do this right, wrestling on every single day of the week. I hope Impact makes a smart choice and goes there. But this show, that first hour was great. Roderick Strong wins the North American Championship. I didn't mention this on Wednesday, and I went on Thursday morning, but I went back and thought about it. Roderick, when Adam Cole won the NXT Championship, he did it on his own. He feigned the Undisputed Era coming out to help him, but he did not have their help. Yes, at TakeOver New York, Johnny Gargano overcame him and the Undisputed Era, but Adam Cole did it on his own. Fast forward to the second week of the last set of tapings that they had for the Undisputed Era versus the Street Profits. Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish won the tag team titles on their own. So why did Roderick Strong need the Undisputed Era to help him win this match? Why would you not have and book Roderick Strong to win all on his own? You could have had the Undisputed Era standing up at the entranceway, just watching this match. Roderick Strong wins the championship, and then you see all four members being a dominant faction. Right now, just the way they had that match end, it makes the Roderick Strong victory just make it seem like there's a chink in the armor of the Undisputed Era. That he could not win the championship on his own. He needed the Undisputed Era's help to win the championship. Yes, they hold all the gold, but it looks like Roderick Strong is the weak link of the Undisputed Era, which would make sense as well because, honestly, Roderick Strong was the fourth member who came in about 6 months, 7 months after the Undisputed Era formed. So, yeah, if there was going to be a weak link, then it would definitely be Roderick Strong. The second hour of the show, of course, had Lio Rush versus Oney Lorcan in a fantastic Cruiserweight number one contenders match. And if that is the beginning of 205 Live being integrated into NXT, absolutely fantastic. But one of the big negatives, in my opinion, outside of the finish, which I still don't know why they went with that finish. I know they wanted to hold it off, but they could have did something else and given us this Lio Rush versus Oney Lorcan match at the end of the show. Imperium comes down, destroys some jobber that was going to go up against Kushida. I don't even remember the guy's name. That's how important he was. They come down. You had Martel Barthel, Fabian Eichner, and Alexander Wolf beat this bum down, and then out came Walter. The problem I have with this is a couple problems. One, they beat down just some random jobber that we have never seen before. He has not been on NXT whatsoever. He wasn't on NXT in the last year and a half. It was just someone brand new out of the Performance Center to take an L to Kushida. Then also the fact that you had this on the network instead of saving this as a surprise for that October 2nd, and that would have been the way to have them invade. Have them come out during that October 2nd episode when it's on, all eyes are on the USA Network to watch this show. Now, the fact that AEW is coming in and people are going to be able to watch this the next day, I can kind of understand why they probably want to do this, to keep the show, have a couple surprises beforehand. But honestly, this was something that I honestly think should have been kept for that time, but they didn't do that. Makes me think that they shot their shot way too early, or they had a bigger surprise coming on October 2nd. Also, another thing, Kevin Owens coming to NXT, definitely not happening at this time. If Kevin Owens was to make his return to NXT It was not happening tonight, this week. It's not happening next week. It's going to happen on that October 2nd show. Somebody was like, "Oh, I expect to see Kevin Owens make the save of the Velveteen Dream from the Undisputed Era." I'm like, why would he do that? No. Again, if Kevin Owens is coming back to NXT, even though he did show up on SmackDown, they have that multi-million-dollar, $25 million wrongful termination suit against Shane McMahon, which I'm telling you is going to lead to a match at Hell in a Cell. This will not happen until either October 2nd or the next Wednesday, because if anything, we're going to have that match at Hell in a Cell, which will be the Sunday after after the debut of AEW. Kevin Owens probably loses to Shane McMahon. He's off of SmackDown, and he shows up the next week. So, no Kevin Owens. Nobody needs to expect Kevin Owens. Stop trying to say, "Oh, Kevin Owens is going to show up." I think Tuesday put that to bed for now. And of course, Lio Rush winning the number one contendership to take on Drew Gulak as he beat Oney Lorcan in a fantastic match in what should have been your main event. Now, my biggest problem with this, I have no problem with Lio Rush winning, but it's the fact that Lio Rush has been gone since before WrestleMania, if I'm correct. He was taken out, he was taken backstage, and just not used again because of his attitude and just his bad behavior backstage. Is the fact that he was bringing people to production meetings, like his wife, his friends, and stuff. You're not supposed to do that. Finn Balor and other people who've been there a lot longer tried to tell him that, hey, this isn't acceptable. He blew them off. Management tried to tell him, he blew them off. So the fact that this guy has been out and punished by not being used for about 6 or so months, just to bring him back and have him beat Oney Lorcan, who's been crushing it on 205 Live and NXT as well, just made no sense to me. So yes, Lio Rush is back. I think he should have taken the loss, but he didn't. So why they gave it to him, only one can tell. But me, no idea why. And of course, the finish. The finish was, of course, supposed to be a street fight between Killian Dane and Matt Riddle. So those two beat the hell out of each other. They go outside, and Imperium gets involved, beating the hell out of them. Everybody and their mother come from, I think, just from out of everywhere. There was an opening to them to get into this fight. Everybody came. Killian Dane and Matt Riddle head back into the ring, and the last shot that you see is everybody laid out because Killian Dane dove over the top of the ropes and laid out everybody. Then we saw on Twitter, which I think this was a massive mistake. You had 10 minutes left. You mean to tell me you could not have what happened with William Regal happen on your show? By the way, Triple H, this is a new 2-hour. This is going to be a 2-hour show. You don't get to, when we get to USA Network for a full 2 hours, you don't get to end 10 minutes early. You end 10 minutes early, USA is going to be calling like, what the hell are you doing? We paid for 2 hours of content, and you're ending 10 minutes early? You get 10 more minutes on there, or we're going to have a problem. But William Regal walks out, gets in the ring, gets a mic, and makes the match for next week between these two, and the winner faces Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. People are speculating it's going to happen on October 2nd. I don't think that would be a smart idea. The simple fact is that's going to be 3 weeks in a row that you see either Killian Dane or Matt Riddle. I think that's a little bit overexposing him a little bit more. I don't want to see it happen yet. And these two just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Killian Dane and Matt Riddle just do not click at all. So that was your Raw, SmackDown, NXT. But again, Matt Riddle versus Killian Dane. I really don't want to see that match. I don't. They don't click. The beatdowns, the brawls, and everything, it just looks rough. It looks terrible. I don't know what it is between them, but it's just not good. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens on Wednesday, which, of course, I will have up on Thursday. Backstage news on Luke Harper's return as we get into the news for the week. The Bludgeon Brothers reunited at Clash of Champions as Luke Harper returned to help Eric Rowan defeat Roman Reigns in a no DQ match. Harper's return was a late decision as he received the call to be at Clash of Champions on Friday, according to Dave Meltzer, but apparently he had been training for a ring return for at least a few weeks now. WWE took extra steps to keep Harper's return a secret, as they kept his name off the format sheet, and he's kept hidden until right before Rowan versus Reigns match. Harper and Rowan are set to be a team-up to face Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, likely at Hell in a Cell. It was noted that WWE brought Harper back because Rowan needed a tag team partner for the feud. There's no one yet, and WWE still has plans for the original outcome of the storyline, which was Reigns versus Bryan. The Hell in a Cell pay-per-view takes place on October 6th from the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California. As noted, WWE currently has plans for 2 title matches to take place inside Hell in a Cell. Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch, already confirmed, and Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins, already confirmed. It looks like the Bludgeon Brothers will be wearing metal bands t-shirts instead of their gimmick costumes that they wore during the SmackDown Tag Team title reign. Rowan collection of band t-shirts have been a trending topic on social media this summer, and the WWE website noted that Harper came out with a band shirt on to match his partner. Besides Harper dropping weight, another hot topic on Twitter after this week's return was how Harper came out wearing a t-shirt of Arman Amarth. I have no idea who they are. Rowan wore a t-shirt, of course, Enslaved. So, there you go. Yeah, so, here's my thing. It's great to see Harper back. It is really great to see Harper back. I hope that this is not just going to be a one and done and then he disappears. Honestly, Harper and Rowan need to stay together as a tag team. Why? Because WWE is lacking tag teams, and by the time this storyline is over, they're going to have nothing to do with Rowan. You can call them the Bludgeon Brothers if you want to call them just Harper and Rowan. Give them, if you want them to be the Bludgeon Brothers, they don't need to wear the goofy gimmick that they wore before. Have them wear what they were, and you just go with that. The metal bands, people think it's it's popular with the fans. It's popular with the heavy metal groups, the fans of heavy metal grouping and everything. They come out, they wear those shirts, people pop for it, people on social media talk about it. WWE would be foolish to say you guys can't wear those anymore. WWE usually wouldn't let superstars do that. It's either wear WWE approved apparel or just wear black or white. But WWE is allowing them to wear those because it's a social media hot topic. So let these guys stick around and let them be in the tag team division, and let them do their tag team thing until if Harper doesn't sign a new contract, he leaves. It'd be a way to get use out of him, and honestly, the WWE's tag team division on the main roster would really need that shot in the arm of the Bludgeon Brothers. I would love to see the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Viking Raiders, the Bludgeon Brothers versus the OC. I would love to see the Bludgeon Brothers versus the New Day again, because they had 2 fantastic matches back to back. Or at least that match that they dropped the titles to the New Day, even though Rowan was injured in that match already. That was a good match. So WWE, keep these guys together after this thing is completely done. You don't have to have, and if you want to, like I said on Tuesday, Rowan, Harper, if you don't want him to do him to talk, then don't have him talk. Rowan can do the talking. Rowan's good on the mic. Harper he's a mute. He goes out there, he kicks ass, he takes names, he bludgeons people, and you go with that. There you go. You use the strengths that you see in Harper. He would be a hell of a single star. WWE is not going to do anything with him as a single star. If you get to keep him on TV, maybe you can talk him into getting that contract re-signed. Even though I think I'd rather see Brody Lee in the All Elite Wrestling or Impact Wrestling or Ring of Honor over Luke Harper, who's not going to be used right. But use him for what you have him until he leaves, if he leaves. But that is it for Harper. How did they keep him? Of course, from being told nobody knew he was there. Surprise return, of course. Extra steps. They didn't have his name on the format sheet. He was kept hidden backstage until just before Rowan versus Eric Rowan. on no DQ match. No one saw him backstage until it was time for him to come out and help Rowan win the match. I hope WWE has some cameras with him and we get the day of Clash of Champions with Luke Harper. I think that would be awesome. Be a nice 10-15 minute video of Luke Harper's day. You can have him, what he did before the show, show his kids, show his normal side, and then we get into him being hidden away, what it feels like to be back, all that stuff. I think that would be great. Hell, do a chronicle of him from Clash of Champions to Hell in a Cell if you have to. That would be fucking fantastic, I think. That's if they want to. I mean, they did it with Sasha Banks, so why the hell not? From Clash of Champions, his return to Clash of Champions to the match at Hell in a Cell. Boom. You got some content for the WWE Network. Pay me, Vince. No, don't really. Moving on here, Vince McMahon wanted to bury Cedric Alexander at Clash of Champions. That was so evident on Sunday, and then Monday even made it even more evident Vince McMahon wanted to bury Cedric Alexander. There's been a lot of speculation on Cedric Alexander's WWE status over the past few days, and the word is now that his quick loss at Clash of Champions was a call made by Vince McMahon. Vince wanted to bury him, according to Dave Meltzer. The speculation began when WWE announced Cedric versus United States Champion AJ Styles on Clash's kickoff show. The rumors continued when AJ won a quick squash over Cedric. Cedric then took a pinfall by Styles in the six-man tag match on Monday Night Raw. It was believed that Cedric was headed for a strong singles push after it was revealed that he had been a big supporter. He had a big supporter in Raw Executive Director Paul Heyman. It was recently reported that Heyman wanted to push Cedric to the top with a slow build, but it looks like Vince may have nixed those plans. And everybody thought that Vince McMahon was taking a step back and that Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff were going to start having more control. That shows you right there that Vince McMahon will come in at any time and is like, nope, kill this push. I don't want this guy being pushed anymore. I'm not surprised. Of course, what happened also is he got pinned in that six-man tag match. After the six-man tag match was over, the Viking Raiders took out Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. All four of those men were down. Cedric went up to give AJ Styles a Frankensteiner, and he ate a middle turnbuckle Super Styles clash. So, if anybody didn't believe that that Cedric Alexander was buried before Monday, everybody knows that Cedric Alexander was buried on Monday. If people want to see Cedric Alexander try and get any type of push, go to these shows, chant his name. We want Cedric. We want Cedric. Let WWE know that this guy is fucking fantastic. Then you're wondering, where was Triple H and Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn this week? They were not on Monday Night Raw. Raw Executive Director Paul Heyman reportedly ran this past Monday's show from Knoxville, Tennessee. If he ran this on his own, which I know he did not, then Paul Heyman should be taking his clipboard or his papers and everything and turning them in. Heyman ran the show because Vince McMahon, Triple H, and Kevin Dunn were not there. This is from Pro Wrestling Sheet. Triple H missed Raw because he's in Orlando to prepare for Wednesday's NXT premiere on the USA Network. Triple H really has no reason to be at Monday Night Raw because NXT is now going to be live every Wednesday. He needs to work on NXT from here on out. Triple H missed the show, of course, and then no reason word yet on why Vince McMahon and Dunn missed the show. Vince was probably doing XFL duties, and Dunn probably just didn't want to be there. I think I read somewhere before that Dunn doesn't come in and Vince isn't there. So without Vince being there, I'm pretty sure Kevin Dunn was like, "Yep, I'm out. I'm staying home." Had to go back into his little den with his gopher into his little gopher den. There's no word yet that Vince McMahon and Dunn will be backstage at SmackDown. They would not. So Kevin Dunn was not there. Vince McMahon was not there. Vince McMahon was not on SmackDown either, but Vince McMahon was in production meetings over the phone. Vince, if you're not there, then you're not to actually get involved. You have XFL duties. You need to work on the XFL. Triple H has no business being behind Raw and SmackDown unless he's taking over. Until Vince McMahon is gone and Triple H possibly takes over, Triple H has to worry about NXT now. NXT is his baby. NXT has got to be his main focus. We don't need to see him on Raw or SmackDown from here on out. Now, if they want to do some kind of video thing backstage during the week for an episode of SmackDown or Raw, that is done from the offices, fine, whatever. But they need to have him down in Orlando preparing for every single week. Since it's no longer you have 4 weeks to work on storylines and everything built going into War Games, you have to do your production meetings from Thursday to Friday to Saturday to Sunday. Anybody saw the beginning of Monday Night Raw after the Firefly Funhouse thing was done, the next set of graphics were upside down. A hot topic coming out of Monday Night Raw was that the upside down graphics that were shown early in the show, which were acknowledged by Renee Young, they were done on purpose. They were also shown like that inside the Thomas Bowling Arena. The Brass graphics were done on purpose as a way to play into the Firefly Funhouse theme on the show, done to build the Fiend Bray Wyatt's feud with the Universal Champion. The Fiend vs. Rollins was taking place at Hell in a Cell. I'm sorry, but that just looked so... That looked like whoever was running production was not Kevin Dunn, and they were just terrible at their job. It did not look good at all. You didn't have to have Renee Young be like, oh, are these things been upside down the whole time? Yes, they were. You didn't need to acknowledge it. It looked just so bad, and like whoever was running production that day just needed to be fired. So there's your reason for that. Moving over to announcement that was earlier this week, Starrcade is coming back as a special on the network. The event will air from 1 hour special from WWE Network at 7 p.m. It will be on December 1st from Duluth, Georgia. They're going to Georgia for Starrcade, which of course Georgia was where a lot of Starrcades took place, just not Duluth. Tickets on Starrcade 2019 go on sale on September 27th, next week. Superstars announced for Starrcade include Universal Champion Seth Rollins, Kofi Kingston for the WWE Champion, Becky Lynch, Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley, United States Champion AJ Styles, Roman Reigns, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, and Daniel Bryan. As we all know, cards subject to change. It does mention that Seth Rollins and Kofi Kingston are still the champions, even though they both had title matches way before that. I fully expect both of them to lose their championships, along with Becky Lynch and Bayley. AJ Styles, I don't know what they're doing with the United States Championship, nor do I really care. And I hate to say that because AJ holds it, but still. Anyway, Starrcade is coming back. It's the iconic returning to the iconic Starrcade event, which was also WCW's WrestleMania for a couple years, for like from the time they became WCW until 2000, when there was their last Starrcade. I had the DVD collection for the Best of Starrcade until it was lost by... I got my dad borrow it, and he had it in a storage unit because I wasn't able to get to it fast enough, and he lost it, so I lost that. But you can watch Starrcade on the WWE Network at any time. It's kind of funny because if you pay $9.99 for the network, any of these compilations that they come out with, you really don't need to go and buy anymore because you can just watch them on the network. Just saying. So if you're looking forward to Starrcade, it will be on December 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Do I really care? No. Will this do anything for main WWE television? No. It's just another glorified house show. It's a 1 hour show. 1 hour. Do you really expect me to see anything great in 1 hour for a special event called Starrcade? No. Besides, it wouldn't surprise me if we get the first hour on the network, and then you have like another hour or two on not on the network. WWE, if you're going to use Starrcade, just make it your December pay-per-view. That's when Starrcade happened. Just get rid of TLC. We don't need TLC, and just give us fucking Starrcade. How hard is that? Ooh, this one is going to be an interesting. According to WrestleVotes, the current plans for the Raw announce team going into the new era, the rebirth of the brand split, which has been muddied since we had the wildcard rule, is Vic Joseph, check mark on that one, and Dio Madden. Maddin, not En. Why? Dio, I heard at Clash of Champions, he wasn't bad, but Dio Madden and Vic Joseph, I don't know how to feel about that one. Vic Joseph killed it when he was on Monday Night Raw about 2 weeks ago when Jerry King Lawler got beat down by the Fiend. I think it was 3 weeks ago now. He did fantastic. He They actually had Michael Cole step back and had Vic Joseph run Monday Night Raw for the most part. Yes, Michael Cole tried to play with Corey Graves or tried to do something, but hey, Vic Joseph, Renee Young, and Michael Cole was better than Michael Cole, Renee Young, and Corey Graves. So that is according to now, but we don't know what is actually the final commentary groups. But Vic Joseph, Dio Madden are your runnings right now. That also means that we do know, and it has been confirmed for sure, that 205 Live will be going away. I would not be surprised if 205 Live ends after this coming Tuesday. It's been noted how WWE will be focused on brand exclusivity coming out of the draft in October. They're going to have to because Fox is going to make them. That includes the announced teams. It was reported last week that the plan was for Cole to move to SmackDown from Raw, while Joseph moves to Raw from 205 Live. It was also reported that Corey Graves was set to join Cole on SmackDown, and that Graves will no longer be pulling double duty on 2 shows. He can't. WWE is currently called by Raw is currently called by Cole, Graves, and Renee Young. There's no one yet on where Renee will end up, but she is expected to host a weekly FS1 studio show where she should be going. Renee Young on commentary is gutter trash. Renee Young hosting a talk show, absolutely fantastic. She had Unfiltered on the WWE Network. She killed it. She was awesome in that. She was the co-host with Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack for the first year and 6 months of the brand split. Fantastic. So I would rather see her do the studio show, and that's it. Maybe we could get a Talking Smack and a Raw Talk again. I don't know, but definitely would love to see that her doing that over doing commentary. Madden currently calls 205 Live with Aiden English. He was just brought up to 205 Live about a week before Clash of Champions, replacing Nigel McGuinness, who will be going exclusive to NXT on Wednesdays with Mauro Ranallo and Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix. That is your plan. Corey Graves and Michael Cole, I'd have to hear what they sound like by themselves, because that's going to be like 2-man boosts have to happen. I don't want to see 3-man anymore. NXT, I'd hate to say it, but Nigel McGuinness could go to his... it sucks because, I mean, Beth Phoenix, I don't know. Beth Phoenix, yeah, see, I don't know. It'd definitely be Morrow and Beth Phoenix probably, and Nigel McGuinness is still doing his NXT UK. The question is with Vic Joseph being on Monday Night Raw, who's going to be replacing him on NXT UK, because I'm pretty sure he's not going to be able to do both. So I could see Beth Phoenix possibly doing NXT and NXT UK. I could be wrong. That would be interesting. Having her do both NXT and NXT UK, or possibly just having her do NXT UK with Nigel McGuinness, and Nigel McGuinness, and we'll see what happens when the coming weeks, but as of right now, Dio Madden and Vic Joseph are in the running to host Monday Night Raw on commentary, while Michael Cole and Corey Graves go SmackDown, because SmackDown is officially, after this week, the A show. This week's episode of SmackDown, I honestly expect them to do absolutely nothing. This week's episode of SmackDown is a lame duck show. Nothing they do on this week's SmackDown should matter for anything. Outside of course, building towards Hell in a Cell, which WWE SmackDown really didn't do. Before we get into this next one, let me know in the comment section below who you want to see be the commentators for Raw, the commentators for SmackDown, and just be creative with it. Who would you like to see on commentary for both shows? 2-man groups, 3-man groups, let's not even talk about 4. WWE looking to build intrigue for the reveal of Maria Kanellis' baby daddy. Rusev was, of course, they had this gender reveal party, the first ever on Monday on WWE television, and we had Maria Kanellis claim that it was Ricochet who was the father, and that led to a squash match between Ricochet and Mike Kanellis, which, man, how far has Ricochet fallen? From battling Samoa Joe and AJ Styles in a 2-3 month period for the United States Championship to being implicated is the baby daddy of Maria Kanellis' father. Baby. I just messed that up. But he was obviously not the father, so Maria Kanellis said it was Rusev. Rusev has been out since the Battle Royal, I believe, at WrestleMania. For whatever reason. He took time off. Whatever. Good for him. Get your mind and body right. This is what you had for him. This is what you had for him. Rusev. I hope you and Lana contracts are up soon and you guys just bolt and go somewhere else, because this was just excruciating. This was... I just wanted to rip my hair out. I just wanted to rip my fucking hair out. This just pissed me so much off. This was the best you had for Rusev. Are you kidding me? But Rusev will not be the final reveal on the Maria Kanellis pregnancy angle, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. This week's Raw saw Maria, who was 20 weeks along in her pregnancy, reveal that she and Micah are expecting a baby boy. She then named Ricochet as the father, which led to Ricochet squashing Mike in a singles match. Ricochet insisted she was lying and led to Rusev making his return after Maria named him the father. Rusev squashed Mike in another singles match, but was dodged questions about getting Maria pregnant during a post-show interview. The new report from the Observer notes that the eventual plan is to reveal who the father is and build to that a mystery angle for a ratings boost. So this entire fucking angle is all to see if people are going to tune in to see who the fuck Maria's baby's daddy is. Vince, you're an idiot. Vince, no one fucking cares who is the baby daddy of Maria Kanellis. You brought Maria back in 2000 and what was it, 16? Right? 2016? 2017? With her husband, Mike Bennett, who you made him change his name to Mike Kanellis instead of going Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett. You had them have maybe a couple wins on SmackDown, and then he went off to catering, moved the Monday Night Raw, then moved to 205 Live, and you haven't done a damn thing with him or her. No one fucking cares. The audience that you're targeting for this entire show that wasn't even old enough to know who Maria Kanellis was back in the day when she was the ditzy redhead girl who just was who had to play like she was stupid. This is not, nobody cares about this. They've been off TV way too fucking long and nobody's gonna care. Why are you making us go through this? There's no word yet on who they plan to have be the father, but it will not be Rusev. It's noted that this will be more of a running joke instead of an angle that builds to a major reveal, despite hope for a ratings boost. Well, there you go. You're treating it as a running joke instead of an angle to build to a major reveal. You can't have it both fucking ways. It needs to be a running joke that nobody gives a shit about, or you need to make it, if you want a major reveal, it has to be a major angle that you're investing your time in. Hell, you dropped this shit for about 6 weeks. Why should we fucking care? Why should we care? You did not care about Maria and Mike Kanellis when you brought them back in because you brought them up to SmackDown Live instead of having to go to NXT. Mike Bennett would have went into NXT, and him and Maria Kanellis would have made themselves bigger stars than they are now. They would have been fucking perfect for NXT. Drop this Power of Love shit. You should have put them in NXT, but you didn't. Because Maria had name value to you, even though the people that you were targeting, like, if you're targeting kids who are between 8 to 10 years old, they don't even know who the fuck Maria Kanellis is. Half the people who were watching that show when they came up to, what was it, Clash of Champions that year? Or what was it? I think it was whatever SmackDown show they had in like 2016 or 17. Nobody gives a shit about Maria Kanellis or Mike Bennett. And you booked them, you set these two up to fail from day one. And now you expect people to tune in to see, oh, who's the father? Who's the father? Now they actually ask Mary Povich, oh, what do we do? Who's the daddy? He's like, on Twitter, he's like 2 words, paternity test. So apparently, he's supposed to be filming a paternity test angle video for this entire thing. This makes my head hurt so goddamn much. This is what you expect people to tune in for? Monday Night Raw went from 2.5 million views to 2.1, and it moved up just maybe a percentage this week on Raw because the Jets were playing the Browns, and the Browns killed them on Monday night. Whoever's playing Monday night this week coming up, I guarantee is going to have a lot better viewership than they're going to have. It's going to probably be a better game, and it's going to kill Monday Night Raw even more. I would fully expect Monday Night Raw by the end of this year dropping below 2 million viewers. I fully expect it to happen. But before we get to holidays, for sure. But this is just so fucking stupid. There is absolutely no reason we need to see this shit. You had it off for about 6 weeks. This is Paul Heyman all over it. This entire mystery reveal, this entire baby daddy shit, this is Paul Heyman to a fucking T. It was a Paul Heyman thing back when they introduced it, and it's a Paul Heyman thing now. Get these motherfuckers off TV. I don't give a shit, and the vast majority of your honest audience does not give a shit. You have given us no reason to care about these guys. It'd be different if Becky Lynch was pregnant and they were doing this thing to where it was like, oh, Seth might not be the father. Becky might have been unfaithful. Maybe she got drugged, and maybe somebody got into Becky's pants behind Seth Rollins' back. That would be a different story because those two we fucking care about. Nobody cares about Mike and Maria Kanellis. Nobody. Not a single fucking soul. Get it through your fucking head, WWE. Nobody cares. I guarantee you the ratings dipped in that entire segment. People saw what you'd done to Ricochet. You took this guy from being a potential future WWE Championship contender to, oh, he might be a womanizer. He's dating Casey Catanzaro, who is signed to your fucking company that everybody fucking knows that. Do you really think we're going to buy that he cheated on Casey Catanzaro for Maria Kanellis? If I had the choice, I'm going with Casey every single time. Do you all think that we buy? Like, yes, of course, I just said the fact that Rusev's not going to be the father. Do you think we even buy that was even a possibility since he's married to Lana? Give me a fucking break. This has got to be some of the worst goddamn television WWE has on their brand. And this is the shit that people are eating up and saying, oh, this happened on Monday Night Raw this week, and you have people saying this is one of the best Monday Night Raws I have ever seen. Are you kidding me? This shit was on there for at least two segments, and you think this was fucking great television? You need to get your fucking head examined. This was fucking retarded. Absolutely some stupid shit. I don't want to see it again, and unfortunately, we're going to see it again because they're going to continue building it up. Rusev's not the father, this person's the father. It's Mike's baby. Shut the fuck up, and let's move on. What was the ratings for NXT's first hour? Why? It was a 1.179. That is fantastic. This is the benchmark for NXT. Now, if NXT goes to next week's show, there's going to probably be a dip, even though we have Dominik Dijakovic versus Keith Lee, which is going to be fucking fantastic. And then you have Matt Riddle versus Killian Dane, which I still think those two just don't have the chemistry, or they just don't click. They just don't click. But we'll see what happens next week. Hopefully they put a barrier around the fucking building so they can't come out. I would put them in a cage match. Don't put them in a street fight. Put them in a fucking cage. They want to brawl, put him in a cage. Matt Riddle used to be in a cage from the UFC. Why not? But anyway, 1.179 with two fantastic matches. The Cameron Grimes Shawn Maluta match. Let's just throw that out of here. This show ranked number 4 on the night in Cable 1 Top 150, 18 and 49 demographic behind American Horror Story, Basketball Wives, and Black Ink Crew. NXT ranked 19th for the night in viewership. The numbers for the first hour that aired on USA Network. We do not have viewership for the second hour that aired on the network. Both hours will begin airing on USA on Wednesdays, October 2nd. I'm not comparing it to Raw and SmackDown because they're in the 2s and they have 2 or 3 hours, so I'm not going to do that. Just the fact that the only thing you're going to compare this to is December 13, 2017, which was a taped episode that left out a Ember Moon versus Billie Kay match. I believe it was Billie Kay, which drew 841,000 viewers and ranked 22nd on the cable and top 150. That show had zero promotion, that show was just there as a one-off for their Christmas specials that they did back then. So NXT off to a good start. If they drop below 1 million after this, I think they're starting to just fall down. They're going to tumble a little bit. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. If it goes from 1.179 to like 1.079, that's not a big deal. That drop's expected. I'm hoping that we'll start seeing an uptick as we get to AEW versus NXT, but definitely going to be interesting to see what happens next week in the 1 hour. Yes, when they go to 2 hours, there's going to be full time on USA Network. The numbers will be different. Like the reason Raw's number always is as bad as it is because that third hour, when they drop from 2 something to 1 something in that third hour almost on a constant, that hurts Monday Night Raw's average. Like Raw did the 2.27 and 2 this week, and the fact that its third hour was in the ones, that third hour was in the 2s, like 2.1 or something, or 2.0, it would have probably been a 2.3 number instead of a 2.2. SmackDown, they don't ever give us the breakdowns of what they had for each hour because it's only 2. But yeah, NXT, good start out. A lot of us didn't even expect them to get 1.17, like 1 point anything. A lot of experts were expecting a 8 to 900,000 viewership. This is fantastic. It just shows that NXT is going to be hopefully here to stay, and hopefully if it stays the way it was on that first hour, we'll be acting absolutely good. Speaking of NXT, Joaquin Wilde is out after a freak injury to his orbital bone. NXT superstar Joaquin Wilde is set to undergo surgery for a broken eye socket soon. Wilde, formerly known as DJZ in Impact Wrestling, reportedly suffered the injury back in July, which was described as a freak accident during training. Doctors held off the surgery for a few weeks to see if the injury would heal itself, but they decided the surgery is best option. Wilde is expected to miss a few weeks of action after the surgery. Former DJZ made his NXT debut back during the recent Breakout tournament, losing to Angel Garza in the first round. He then lost an NXT match against Shane Thorne in August. I will have to say this. That injury happened in July, possibly before the Breakout tournament, but definitely after. Like, he wrestled Shane Thorne after that orbital break. That is fucking fan. That is just like crazy, man. He had a broken eye socket, and he wrestled at least 2 matches in between. So that if I had a broken eye socket, I'm like, you know what, doc, just give me under the knife. I can't do this, man. I'm not gonna sit there and risk my eyes being fucked up. Fix my eye socket so I can get back to going with what I want. But speedy recovery to DJZ. It says a few weeks, but hope he's out. Not that long. The guy has some potential. I'm hoping Joaquin Wilde can. I don't like the name Joaquin Wilde. I think they should give him a new name, and even though DJZ, which isn't their intellectual property, so they have to change it, I think it would be better than what he's doing now, because he's still wearing the DJZ gimmick. But again, speedy recovery to Joaquin Wilde. Hope to see him back on NXT in the coming months. What is Vince McMahon's thoughts on Chad Gable, the King of the Ring push for Chad Gable could continue over the next few weeks? Vince McMahon is said to be high on Gable, according to the Wrestling Observer. It is noted that Vince really likes and appreciates Gable and considers Gable's recent King of the Ring run to be a push. Gable, of course, lost the King of the Ring finals to Corbin last Monday, but he then interrupted the King of the Ring coronation on SmackDown the next night. The segment ended with Gable destroying the throne, the crown, the robe, and the scepter over Corbin's back. Gable's current gimmick he received has some negative feedback from fans online due to other superstars who are constantly making short jokes about him. Apparently this is leading to a bigger push for him. We noted that it's been noted back when the WWE filed a trademark for Shorty G name, and that was to be Gable's as a name was recently mentioned on TV. Now, I don't take anything that happens with Vince McMahon to be like, oh, it's going to be a huge push. If it's not Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar, Vince McMahon usually gets bored with you like that. If Vince McMahon he has such a short attention span that he might like Gable now, and then next week Gable's just back to running after the 24/7 championship or doing nothing. We'll keep it as it goes. I would love to see Chad Gable be the one to take the Intercontinental title off of Shinsuke Nakamura. because I fully don't expect Ali to do it. So it was great to see him win the Intercontinental title, keep it, and he is. Chad Gable is the perfect babyface to hold that title. He is a workhorse. He is what that title was made for. The Intercontinental title was made for guys like Chad Gable, who are going to go out there, and you know, if you see him in a match, 9 times out of 10, he is going to give you a 3.5 to 4, maybe even 4.5 star match. So I'm hoping this is good things with Chad Gable. If Vince McMahon is high up to you on you right now, then we'll take it for what it is, but I don't see it lasting very long because Vince McMahon can change his mind on a moment's notice. Hopefully this is true, but according to WrestleVotes, SmackDown and Raw this week, the set that SmackDown and Raw have been using since August of 2016, will be the last time we see them this coming Monday and Tuesday. According to WrestleVotes, SmackDown will be heading to Fox on Fridays, October 4th, and that week, September 30th on Raw has been advertised by its venue, Talking Stick Resort Arena in Phoenix, Arizona, as the Raw season premiere, according to the new report. Both shows will be getting an updated, fresh-feeling set. In the comments, people asked if the sets for Raw and SmackDowns would be different, and WrestleVote responded that yes, each show will be getting a different set. WWE is looking to establish separate, unique brands in the fall, and WWE Draft will begin on October 11th, episode of SmackDown, then continue on the following Monday. Now, when we went to the brand split, we split the brands up in 2016. That first month, SmackDown and Raw, yes, they still had the HD LED boards and everything, but they were shaped differently. Raw had one. Raw had this archway on it. SmackDown and Raw had 2 different sets. They didn't look the same. And then we got the SummerSlam. And SummerSlam, they had a different set. They had a set at SummerSlam that looked nothing like the Raw and SmackDown sets. I'm like, okay, it might not be a fancy set or anything that we see for like WrestleMania or anything, but at least it's not the same as the other ones. And then we had Raw, we had SmackDown and Raw, of course, in the Barclays Center the next 2 nights. We all gave it a pass because there would be no point to take down the SummerSlam set to put up the Raw and then take that down and put the SmackDown one up. So we gave it a pass. Then we go to Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live the very next week, and it's like, really? So the sets that you had that looked absolutely fucking different, you decided we're gonna stick with it from here on out with some of the set we started at SummerSlam. And that's the same set we have used since August of 2016. Hopefully, I would love to see SmackDown go to the SmackDown Fist again. Maybe you change it up where instead of having two video things, you have the SmackDown Fist and below it you would have a thing. I don't know. All I know is Raw and SmackDown need to look different. Different camera angles for SmackDown, different camera angles for Raw. Get Vince McMahon off the headset. Do not let him just sit there and tell Vic Joseph and Dio Madden or Corey Graves and Michael Cole what to fucking say. Let these guys' personality come out. They need to sound different. They need to sound unique. They need to sound fresh. They need to sound new. All I know is we have to get through 1 more week of the sets looking the same. The only difference right now between Raw and SmackDown is SmackDown usually doesn't have a huge ramp. They just have the flat surface. Like NXT debuted a updated set this week where it was a flat. It wasn't that high rising stage that we usually see. It was more flat down. Even though there was still technically a ramp, it was just not as high as it was before. So hopefully we'll have we'll have pictures and everything, and hopefully the sets will look great compared to what we have now, and they'll look different. And that doesn't mean when we get to Hell in a Cell, we have a Hell in a Cell set that looks like that, and then we go to Raw and SmackDown looking like those the very next week. I'm not going to hold WrestleVotes to it, but if it happens, it happens. We'll have to wait and see. September 30th and October 4th, we're supposed to have new sets. I'll believe it when I see it. Moving over to the AEW spectrum of the wrestling world, AEW is to make its Indianapolis debut this November. AEW has announced that their 8th TNT episode will air live from Indianapolis, Indiana, November 20th, which was the only episode between now and November 27th when they go back to the Sears Centers that we did not have a venue for yet. We do now. It's going to be at the Indiana Farmers Coliseum at the Indianapolis State Fair. Tickets go on sale. They've been on sale since Friday. So if they're not sold out, make sure to go get those. AEW stars featured on the Indianapolis promotion are AEW champion Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, MJF, and the Young Bucks. A new match has been added to their first TV show. But before we get there, so between October 2nd and November 27th, we have every single episode where they're going to be. They're going to be in D.C., then Boston, then Philadelphia. I think it's Philadelphia and then Boston, or Boston and Philadelphia. Pittsburgh, West Virginia. They're going to Memphis, Nashville. They're going to the Sears Center on the 27th. They're going to Indianapolis. Just great to see. They don't really need to tell us any more dates right now if they don't want to. They don't want to go past the 27th. I think we'll get more of those after a couple weeks of AEW have gone on the air. But a new match has been added to the first episode. It is MJF versus Brandon Cutler. This has been announced for AEW's TNT premiere episode Wednesday, October 2nd from the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. MJF and Cutler have built to their match during a recent episode of Being the Elite YouTube series. This will be the first singles match for each man in AEW. Also on this show, we'll have Jon Moxley making a live appearance. This will, of course, be his first wrestling appearance probably since the G1 Climax ended, as well as to be his first AEW appearance since Fyter Fest. Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara. Cody Rhodes did mention if Sammy Guevara wins this match, Sammy Guevara will be going to Full Gear and not Cody Rhodes. The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho and two mystery partners who we all believe are going to be the team of LAX or whatever their name's going to be. Nyla Rose versus Riho to crown the first women's champion, and MJF versus Brandon Cutler. AEW has revealed the official brackets for the World Tag Team Tournament as we continue on here, which begins during the AEW TNT episode October 9th from Boston, which will be week 2. That will have the Young Bucks versus Private Party. The winner of that match will take on the winner of the Lucha Bros versus the Jurassic Express that happens on October 16th. The Dark Order, who got a first round bye, will take on the team of either the Best Friends or SoCal Uncensored. The winners of those would be Pittsburgh. The semifinals will be October 23rd and then of course the finals will be on October 30th. The inaugural AEW World Tag Team Champions will be crowned on AEW's TNT episode on October 30th from Charleston, West Virginia. I really, really, really hope we see the tag team titles on October 2nd. They don't have any tag team title match stuff going on, like tag team tournament stuff going on that first episode. So the best way to hype us up for that tournament is to have those titles be shown off on that first episode. So if I could predict what's going to happen, I fully expect I don't expect Lucha Bros and Young Bucks to wrestle again this year. So Jurassic Express or Private Party is going to be winning their match. I would like to see both of them win, so I would like to see Jurassic Express versus the Private Party in the semifinals, and the Best Friends over I would say SoCal Uncensored is probably going to beat the Best Friends, and then because we just saw the Best Friends versus the Dark Order, and that match was not good. The Dark Order, I don't want to see them make it past the second round. I want to see the Jurassic Express versus SoCal Uncensored rematch from All Out, with the Jurassic Express winning the tag team titles over SoCal Uncensored in West Virginia. Cody says there could be a third hour of AEW content on Wednesday night. Before we get into that, since we did just talk about this, let me know in the comment section below who you think is going to be the first ever AEW Tag Team Champions. Again, Lucha Bros versus Jurassic Express will face the winner of Young Bucks versus Private Party. SoCal Uncensored versus Best Friends. The winner of that match takes on the Dark Order. And then if Private Party or the Young Bucks beats Lucha Bros or Jurassic Express, they will take on one of the others. So let me know who you think is going to be in the finals and who you think is going to win. Cody said there could be a third hour of AEW content, but it is not going to be on TNT. So everybody hold their horses. Oh, we're going to have 3 hours of AEW on TNT. No. AEW Executive President Cody Rhodes spoke with IGN about an All Elite Wrestling upcoming debut on TNT. The show will premiere October 2nd. During the interview, Rhodes revealed that a third-hour content could be filmed for each week that won't air on TNT, but rather be our live, since the company plans on rotating talent on and off TNT each week. They want to make sure that they're still keeping the wrestlers engaged with their audience. He says, and I quote, it will probably be live for people to stream on BR Live. We have a lot of resources, and we want to make sure that people can plug into the wrestlers who we sign, who they're fans of. We're going to try and keep everybody busy. Would I be mad about it? No, I think that's great, but it's like, of course, if it's free on BR Live, then great, then you can go watch it at any time, just like the network. But, hey, we'll have to see what happens. It's a way to rotate people in, but, I don't know. I have to see exactly what it is, what that third hour is. So keep that in mind, that there could be a third hour. Maybe it's something they tape before the show. Maybe it's something they tape after the show. I think it'd be something they would tape before the show. Like Impact Wrestling, when they do the TV tapings, they have Explosion, which is they tape a match every once in a while. A break in between the Impact Wrestling tapings for the TV show. They tape a match that's going to go onto the Explosion for you to watch. And it's not just like if it was WWE, like main event, you don't have a main event type talent or somebody on that show. If you're on main event, the WWE TV show main event, then you're not doing anything in the company. But Explosion, I've seen people on there who you would see on Impact a week or two later. Maybe it's something like that. Let's wait and find out. Kenny Omega shoots on this one. Boy. Kenny Omega took his guns out and just started shooting wildly. Executive Vice President Kenny Omega recently spoke with Sportskeeda and had some interesting comments on the Wednesday Night War. Omega said if pro wrestling was just one big promotion, the NXT talents would be working the dark matches to his main events. He said there was no comparison between the two companies, as AEW has real stars and not just developmental talents. He says this, and I quote, "You can call it a war if you want. It's just like, to me, it's like we're in completely a different kind of business. What they're doing is different than what we are doing. And it's hard to say you're going to war with people that I call my friends, and yet we are going to war. And yet, when I sit back and look at the grand picture, it's like I'm going to war with the dudes that if we were on the same show together, the same show and the same promotion, let's pretend there were no wars. Let's pretend there were no promotion. Let's pretend there was just one promotion. If these guys were on the same show as me, they would be in dark matches. They would be in the opening match for my main event match. You're going to call that a war. You're going to call that competition. Go ahead. Maybe it's fun for you to do. That's cool, but we're different. We're different planets, and you're going to see that right away. When you see 10,000 plus arenas sold out, you're going to see smiles on fans' faces, and you're going to see real stars, not developmental talent, but real stars appearing on your television set every week. Ooh, tell them how you really feel, Kenny Omega. That is drawing the line in the sand. Now, Kenny Omega is half right. If you look at the show that we had on NXT this week, you had Candice LeRae, Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, and Mia Yim. Those four would be not on the. They would not be dark matches. They would be in between. They would be somewhere on the card, somewhere, whether the main event for the women or the opening match for the women. Now, Pete Dunne is a star. Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong, Velveteen Dream, all are stars. They would not be in dark matches. They could all headline a major show for this quote-unquote big promotion. And then you have Vanessa Bourne, Aaliyah, and Xia Li. That would be a dark match whatsoever. Arturo Ruiz also would be in the dark match. Matt Riddle, Killian Dane would be not in dark match. But yeah, you have guys like Sean Maluda, Cameron Grimes, who had a 5-second match. That would be a dark match, yes. He's not completely wrong, but he's not completely right either. But yes, he's just drawing the battle lines. You needed somebody from that side to come out there and just start shooting from the hip. He's not even looking down the barrel, he's shooting from the hip. Omega, tell them how you feel. But Dominik Dijakovic took to Twitter to responded to Omega, reminding him about a match he had with NXT superstar Keith Lee at a 2017 Pro Wrestling Guerrilla event. The same night, Omega was also on the card. Dijakovic will face Lee again on Wednesday's NXT episode, and he told Omega that to tune in to see how it is done. Hey, at Kenny Omega, remember when my match with Keith Lee with Barry Stewart in your PWG Homecoming weekend of Bola 2017? Tune in this Wednesday on NXT TV on USA at 8 p.m. so two development guys can show a real star how it's done again. Just drawing them lines, and then Kenny Omega responds with a 50-cent gif mocking Omega. For those who missed it, Omega, of course, we said that. Yeah, just, this is what we wanted to see. This is what you're going to see from some guys. We want to say it's competition. The media wants to say it's competition. Kenny Omega is not going to want to hear that. Yes, Dominik Dijakovic and Keith Lee are guys who are going to be major stars. Kona Reeves is a development talent. He's not a star. Velveteen Dream, major star. Undisputed Era, all stars. Candice LeRae, star. Io Shirai, major star. Shayna Baszler, major star. But not everybody in AEW is a star. Let's see here. None of the Joshi women are over with the crowd as much as they think they are. You have Orange Cassidy, who is only just like, he's doing his don't care attitude, which is only going to carry him so far. You have the Dark Order, which nobody gives a shit about. Those guys aren't stars. Those guys aren't liked. No, like you go back to that match at All Out between them and the Best Friends, and it's just like they stunk up the joint. The crowd was dead, the crowd was quiet, and the crowd didn't care about that match. Yes, AEW compared to NXT is going to have more stars right now, but NXT is also going to give you some fantastic matches that AEW might not be doing. This just makes it a hell of a lot better, and I can't wait to see where this goes, how far we get into this, who's going to be taking shots on TV, which, quite honestly, I don't want to see AEW just continue to do the pot shots that they do all the time, because then they're just going to be Impact Wrestling, when they were TNA from 2005 to whenever. But, moving on to our final story, and this makes me a little bit happier, because if anybody remembers that All Out, during the media scrum, somebody asked Tony Khan if we'll be seeing Kylie Ray again, and he told him no, she doesn't work for us anymore because she asked for a release, it was amicable, and everyone was wondering what's wrong with Smiley Kylie Ray. She is returning to the ring. She returns to the ring at Freelance Wrestling Underground Game of Genders in Frankfort, Illinois, I believe yesterday. Isaiah Velasquez was scheduled to take on Shotzi Blackheart, but Blackheart wasn't able to make the event. Replacing her in the match is Ray, who has been out of action for the past few months, reportedly due to medical issues. Earlier this month, at the end of August, Ray had been released by AEW, but AEW President Tony Khan said there were no hard feelings with the split. Ray's Twitter account was deleted earlier that month as well. So, we go from Kylie Ray at the beginning of September because we all got done with our media scrum. The media scrum and everything was done, and it was like almost September 1st. But we found out that Kylie Ray was no longer working with AEW, which sucked. Hopefully, whatever was going on with her, whatever medical problems she had, are behind her, and maybe by the time AEW TV comes back around, she is... whatever happened to her, hopefully all that's behind her and we can see her back in AEW. I feel like Kylie Ray was going to be one of the big, one of the better, good names for the women's division. She was going to have be a boost to that women's division, and to find out she wasn't going to be there anymore was just a damper on the women's division. So hopefully, with her coming back to wrestling, if she had a great show last night, which this, of course, I'm recording this the day before, when she was probably in the ring. Hopefully everything worked out for her, and hopefully she is in a better position, in a better place in her life. So, great to hear Kylie Ray is back in wrestling. Hopefully everything works out for her. If she shows up in AEW again, or if she even shows up in NXT, that'll be awesome. So, Make sure you hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on twitch.tv/TheFranceClub as well as Twitter @TheFranceClub. That is all for you, Unscripted. I will see you guys tomorrow for Monday Night Raw. Until then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys later.